Hey, Rook, how's it going?
Matt, what's going on, brother?
Good, good.
Just got off of the Cali record. Love to hear some feedback, some thoughts, how it went, and see how you guys did it on the West Coast because we crushed it on the East Coast.
Humble brag, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a good event. We definitely had to navigate weather. Um, so that kind of compressed our plans, but it was good overall. Um, so yeah, in a nutshell, we had two workable days. We spent one day working on the daisy chain. Um, Let me know if that's coming through.
I
Uh,
do see the picture.
okay,
Yeah.
cool. Yeah, one day working on the daisy chain and one day working on the ribs and spines. Um, so yeah, one of the things we experimented with this weekend is kind of like the stepping stones or the progressive buildup that you and I have discussed using at the VWR.
Mhm.
So we started with 30 ways, one 30 way focusing on the daisy chain. Let me see if I have an image of that.
I think that's what's up, isn't it? Isn't that the daisy chain?
Yep. Do you have it with the 30 way or the 60?
That I don't know. That might be more than 30, but it looks like a lot of people.
Here we go. Yeah, so experimenting with the daisy chain without the pressure of a full 60 way, and that gave us a chance to work on presentation, shape, um, all that good jazz, while others are working on the ribs and spines.
Mhm.
And then after several warm-up jumps, we brought them together to start having ribs build around the full daisy chain.
Nice.
Yeah. Unfortunately, we only had two proper attempts at the 60 way with the daisy chain.
Okay.
So we didn't have as many jumps as we'd like, but it was still really promising and I think beneficial. I liked kind of the process um, in the long run. And I think if we'd spent the whole weekend just focused on that one formation, we would have had full builds for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. What was the feedback from the jumpers? Like, did you get anything?
Yeah, so they seem to like the progressive build,
Yeah.
right? It's really nice. So if you're in those outer ribs, um, traditionally, if we dove right into 60 ways, it's going to be four or five jumps before you get to practice or touch anything.
Yeah.
So having a couple jumps in a smaller format, getting those reps in ahead of time, I think was more productive, and we had positive feedback in that regard.
Nice.
The daisy chain, we're still trying to work out the quirks, right?
Okay.
So when we've built the daisy chain in the past, such as at the sequential world record or echelon, uh, it's just worked magnificently,
Hmm.
right? And we don't want to take that for granted. So we want to continue to really hone it so we can figure out how to troubleshoot and all the nuances to make it successful. So, like one of the things we were playing with this weekend is, does wingspan play a role in where you're slotted? Are there certain areas that benefit from longer arms, shorter arms, etc.? Um, and then one of the other things we've really noticed, so it seems that ribs make these big ways much more accessible for people. But in this daisy chain, we still need those critical big wave flying skills, like levels are super crucial. Shaping it out just right is critical. Um, Flying very still, being able to fly with leg traffic. So whoever's going to be in that core 40 definitely needs to be some very experienced flyers.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm really glad that we've scheduled the June camp to just kind of hammer this out. So come August, we've got it kind of refined down. Um, I know one of the touch points that we had kind of pivoting a little bit was some breakoffs. Did you guys sample some different breakoffs or how did the breakoffs go?
Yeah, we did. So this camp, we focused on essentially heading coordinators. So we're going back to these break-off leaders, and we
Hmm.
just wanted to experiment with it. Um, so, the feedback I've received with the traditional 180 in turn break-off is that with the big ribs, there's cross traffic, right? So on
Yeah.
paper, it looks clean. But if
Hmm.
anybody does 175 degrees instead of 180, they're going to cross
Yep.
paths, right?
Yep.
So setting realistic expectations for people, we're exploring alternatives. So this weekend we're calling them heading coordinators. So they're
Everybody
less
uses
of a
that.
leader. Yeah, really, it's their task is just to set the line of flight after initial breakoff. So they don't have to wait. They're not looking for anybody else. They're going to turn 180, clear their airspace, and go.
Hmm.
And then whatever flock we've allocated will follow in that direction. And then for the last 1,500 feet, fan out.
Yeah, so it's like straight out per account and then fan out. I love the word flock. You're bringing it back old school, which
Yeah.
it's just great. And then did that seem to go well, or what was the feedback on that?
Yeah, the feedback was very positive. It seemed to go very well. I don't think we had any break-off conflicts. Um, the big question that occurs is what happens if the leader is missing,
Yep,
um, or if somebody goes super flat right out the gate, and in which case it's a normal break-off,
yep,
like 180 and go. Uh,
yep. Because hopefully it's just one of those guys, and everybody else will have their coordinators. So it's just one chunk that could
yep.
potentially not be there. Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. So essentially, it has potential benefits, but
Hmm.
there doesn't seem to be any consequences if it goes sideways
Yep.
because you're back at square one,
Hmm.
which is the norm. So yeah, so far it's worked really well. In the 60 ways, we did a couple jumps where there were 8 heading coordinators. So you only have a 45-degree window for your
Yep.
group. And then in some of the 60 ways, we tried 4 heading coordinators. So each one has 90 degrees. Uh,
Okay.
but so far, it's been clean. Even at the end of the camp, everyone would have everyone approved they would feel comfortable dropping breakoff altitude,
Nice.
and that's
Yeah, I
always a
saw
good thing
some,
to hear, right?
yeah, I saw some post camp, people loving the new design, liking it. So it's all good. It's great to see that kind of stuff.
Hmm.
Awesome.
Yeah. One of the other things we played with this weekend was a safety officer.
Hmm.
Um, so, as I'm sure you know, but if for those who haven't organized an event, it's not uncommon to be you land, you get in the back room, and you're trying to puzzle piece the record, and then a participant comes in with a safety concern. And this person in a black jumpsuit just flived or reckless under canopy or whatever. And that almost immediately has to take the priority, right? Because
Hmm.
safety is goal number one.
Absolutely.
And so all that time on the ground we now spend on reconciling who this person is in a black jumpsuit instead of working on the record.
Hmm.
So what we did this weekend was bring on Chris Dare as a tertiary organizer, and his role was, among other things, but to be our safety organizer. If you have an issue, bring it to him. He'll look
Hmm.
at the footage, he'll deconflict. Usually it's something you can just coach or mentor or get everybody on the same page.
Yep.
Um, and it was really helpful because it freed Andy and I up to focus on timing, the build, slotting, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah, like the nuts and bolts of the record itself. Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think the plan is to use that in the California record,
Okay.
and I think it could be advantageous and helpful in the 200 ways as well.
Yeah, for sure. I like the fact that it kind of compartmentalizes from, trying to run everything to, hey, there's an outlet for people that have safety concerns. We focus in on the architecture in its entirety, and then obviously sectors, and it kind of trickles down from there as well. So I like it. It's good.
Yeah, and most participants seem to be happy about having a single source with
Yeah.
authority to go to, rather than raising their hand in a 60-person classroom.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
uh,
For sure. Nobody wants to
yeah,
be called out. For sure. Yeah.
right, right. So it was really nice, and we also got to make him the bad guy when he's
Yeah.
talking about landing patterns.
Sure. There's got to be one, right?
Yeah. Let's
Um,
see here. There
well, I'm
was
bummed.
something.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Bummed that you guys didn't get more jumps in, but happy that you got some stuff in, sampled, and just keep pushing that ball down the road, which is awesome to see.
Yeah, we also saw something interesting, I think, on our last jump of the camp. Let me see if I can share this. So on Sunday, we focused on ribs and spines.
Mhm.
Let me know if this video is coming through.
Yep, it's coming through a little bit slow, but it's coming through.
Cool. So at 9 o'clock, we see it disconnect. And what's really exciting is the 7-person spine and ribs come and reconnect.
Yeah, oh, that is pretty sweet.
And it's just thinking back to past records, I can't imagine a pod and a half disconnecting, then flying as one cohesive unit and reconnecting, right? Like that's, I don't
It
know.
would be the skydive of the year if that happened.
Right. So just watching them fly as one piece is really exciting to me
Yeah,
because it's conceivable in the 200 way. At some point, tension or noise causes a dropped grip, and it's not over.
yeah,
Just
100%.
drive in and keep fighting for it, and that's really exciting to me.
Yeah, I think that's something too we'll have to reinforce. Just saying, hey, if there's a crack the whip or if there's a reason to let go, don't give up. Just settle it out and then get back in, right? And
Mhm.
yeah, that's a really good example of that.
Yeah. So overall, like really happy with the event. We sent out some invitations to the California record. And I'm sure we'll chat further about invites to the VWR from this.
Yeah, absolutely, man. It's exciting. It's crazy. It's coming up fast, and this is all good stuff.
Yep. Absolutely. Cool. Well, that was the event in a nutshell.
Awesome. I appreciate the update and look forward to the next one.
Sounds good. Thanks for
Thanks, Matt.